also share my screen. Okay. Once you see my screen, can you please let me know?
Okay na po, sir.
Okay, so with this manual, I'm showing you the manual showing the alarm fallback modes. Okay, general alarm messages are located on the top right hand side of the dialog area. Okay, alarm list with the alarm button at the top. The list sequence is in order of occurrence. All alarms are indicated in red. When the cause of an unaccepted alarm disappears, the button changes to yellow and the alarm is moved below all alarms within the list. Okay? The user can select an additional indication of audio priority for the alarms in the alarm list. Ladies and gentlemen, for the radar, it has settings, okay, on board. And it is prohibited for you to silence the alarm or probably mute it. No, you can silence it after investigating the alarm, but basically it is prohibited for you to put it on mute. Once you mute it, it can be an observation. Otherwise, wise or otherwise, if there's any risk of collision or any failure with your navigational equipments and the alarms are muted, therefore you may not be able to investigate it. So on this diagram, you will see mute or enable the audio alarm. Therefore, no, you shouldn't. Okay? You can just acknowledge it after investigating or reading what that alarm is, and then you can silence the alarm, but definitely not mute the setting. So alarm list, nandito siya dapat. Okay? New target or lost target. Okay? Those are the kind of alarms. So on the alarm menu. So the alarm button will flash when not acknowledged. So it will keep on flashing if it's not acknowledged. If all alarms are acknowledged, but some are still active, the same text is displayed in the color red until the reason for the alarm is no longer present. If there are no alarm delays, the alarm text on the button is displayed with standard text over a standard background. Alarms can only be acknowledged by pressing the alarm button. The one uppermost in the list is acknowledged by each single touch or click. The radar client only displays alarms related to the currently selected radar and type of stabilization. Okay? Type of stabilization meaning, is it ground stabilized, the ground vector stabilized, or is it not? Okay? Mayroon kasing ground stabilization vector setting on the ARPA. So note, the Universal Coordinated Time or the UTC GPS source above alarm list indicates that the display processor is active. A processor or display failure is indicated by a frozen clock. The time is not updated. This will require a restart, switch off, or on the display PC of the ARPA if that happens. No, the bridge is integrated, meaning to say the DGPS or the differential global positioning system or the GPS itself is indicated directly integrated directly on the ARPA. Okay, and you don't need to correct the time unless on the settings you have set it in a local time. So therefore, always set it in UTC time. Okay. Alarm categories. These are the following. They are subdivided into three: target alarms, sensor alarms, and then the system alarms. Let's talk about target alarms. Ito yung mga target alarms. Siyempre, if we're referring with the target, it's about the vessel's target. Collision warning, the lost target, the new target, or the anchor alarm. On the screen indication, symbol of target X changes to red blinking. Alarm description. Alarm is given when the CPA and the TCPA of target X comes within the set CPA TCPA. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, no, in your probably in your practical, no, during your simulator, you have learned how to set CPA and TCPA. It's not right? Tama? Napag-aralan nyo ba kung paano mag-set ng CPA and TCPA?
Yes po, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So the higher the CPA and TCPA, then the more frequent you will have with your alarms. Okay? Meaning to say, kung nasa open waters ka and you've set 2 nautical miles from your CPA and TCPA, it's like 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, okay, or 19, 18, 17, it will keep on alarming, no? Because you have set your CPA and TCPA like that, and collision warning is set on that, no? This will keep on alarming, collision warning. Now let's go to lost target. A cross appears over the S symbol of target X and the symbol starts blinking if an alarm is generated if the tracker loses a previously tracked target. The echo of the target is no longer reliably detected or kapag malayo na, or probably lost target because you haven't set your ARPA properly. Okay, if the gain and tune and the C clutter and the ring clutter are not properly tuned, then it is easier for you to lose the targets. With that, you will encounter these lost targets. Next, new target. Okay, if not acquired yet, target is acquired automatically. Now, how is that happen? Can anybody tell me? Sige nga, tingnan nga natin kung napag-aralan yung maigi for your...
Naka-auto-zone po, sir.
Yun, correct. That is the auto acquisition. Okay, all ARPAs have their auto acquisition. However, mayroong disadvantage with this, no? The disadvantage with the use of the auto acquisition is that even if the false echoes, for example, it is Beaufort Force 5 and above, there's too much swell, okay, sea waves, higher sea waves and everything, you will have a returned echo. And with that, i-auto-acquire niya yun, and you will have a false target. Okay? And then, syempre, maraming new target nun dahil marami. All over the ship is your sea. Di ba? You are around the sea. So, therefore, you will have false targets. And even if it's raining or cloudy or too much cloud with the low clouds or the low-lying clouds, if you haven't set or increased properly or tuned properly your ARPA with the radar, with the rain clutter, therefore, you will have a returned echo of those heavy rain or low-lying clouds. And with that, a new target will be acquired during auto acquisition. Understood? Okay. Let me just add him up. All right. Anchor alarm. Okay, for the anchor alarm, we're talking about the turning circle. Okay, the formula for the turning circle is the length overall of the vessel plus the length of the chain of the anchor, which is, for example, 10 shackles times 27.5, that is 275.4 meters, plus your length overall. Let's say you are a VLCC, 300 meters plus 275, that is 575.4 meters, divided by 185.2, you will define or determine the how many cables of your turning circle. So whenever there are vessels navigating within your turning circle, then it will trigger an alarm. Okay, so that is all, no, for the target alarms. Now let's go to sensor alarms. Okay, sensor alarms. Sensor alarms are the following. We have the log alarm, the gyro alarm, the speed over ground alarm, the course over ground alarm, and then the position alarm. So when does these alarms happen? So log alarm occurs in C stabilized mode when speed data is not valid. Okay? Kapag hindi tama yung binibigay na speed data at nasa C stabilized mode ka. Gyro alarm occurs in any azimuth stabilized mode when heading data is not valid, meaning your gyro compass fails. Okay, this happens when the gyro needle is broken. Okay, ang mangyayari niyan is magkakaroon ka ng gyro alarm. Next, speed over ground alarm occurs in GPS stabilized mode when speed data is not valid again. So log alarm and SOG alarm are the same, except that the log alarm depends on the speed over water. Remember, it's a Doppler speed or Doppler log speed, okay? While the speed over ground alarm depends on the GPS speed. Remember, hindi lang position ang binibigay ng GPS. But then, also your course, your speed over ground, lahat yan binibigay. And with that, you might encounter speed over ground alarm. Next is the course over ground alarm occurs in GPS stabilized mode when course data is not valid. So gyro alarm and course over ground alarm are different. Okay? I'm sure you've studied that in your practical or laboratory. The course over ground is the course made good, okay, as per your GPS. The gyro alarm is your heading alarm, meaning whatever heading you are right now, the vessel is heading right now, that will be your heading. Okay? So kapag nagsiswing ka on your starboard, rather on hard starboard, your heading swings first before your course over ground. Okay? If you're going to port, swinging to port, your heading swings to port first before the course over ground. No, it's slightly later than the heading. Okay. Position alarm, of course, when the position data is not valid or your GPS fails. Actually, if the GPS fails, lahat ng to ay maapektuhan except the Doppler lag because Doppler lag depends on the speed through water. All right. And lastly, we have the system alarms. What is the system alarm? It warns the user that part of the software and or hardware is malfunctioning. The alarm text is displayed in the center of the radar operational area screen if the radar sensor has failed. An isolated output provides an indication of this failure to an external alarm system. For example, you will see on the PPI, no video, no tracker, no radar controls, radar server down, or radar off, meaning these are your system alarms. Again, let's recap. Target alarms. Then, what's the other? What's the next one? Sensor alarms. And lastly is system alarms. Those are the examples. And in addition, with the system alarms, we have the no trigger, no azimuth pulse, no heading marker. Okay, those are the system alarms. Under 11.3, we have the backup and fallback modes in the event of partial failures and to maintain minimum basic operation. Fallback arrangements as described below are available. A permanent indication the field input information remains displayed. Failure of heading information, that is about the azimuth stabilization. Okay, it has something to do with your heading or your gyro alarm. Okay, you have to read the manual, troubleshooting guide. Failure of speed through the water, I've already told you, it's the log speed. Okay, it has nothing to do with the speed over ground or the GPS speed, but this is about the Doppler log. Failure of course and speed over ground, of course, course over ground and speed over ground are both based on the GPS. Okay. Failure of position input information. Again, position input is coming from your GPS. Okay, global positioning system. Failure of radar video input information. Okay, this is a system alarm. Alarm message provided to alert the user of the failure status and to inform him of any limitations that apply for collision avoidance assessment. Failure of AIS input information. So it's an input coming from your automatic identification system, meaning in between the communication link or the connection, okay, there is an error and needs to be rectified, probably by the electrician, okay? Or a technician if it's not possible by the electrical officer or electrician. Failure of an integrated network system. Okay, this talks about the network or the integration, bridge integration, meaning to say all of your equipments are integrated with each other. Kung ang GPS mo ay dapat nasa ARPA, nandun din dapat siya sa ECDIS, sa AIS, etc. etc. Ganun din ang AIS, ganun din ang ECDIS, ganun din ang ARPA, also the VDR, okay? Gyro compass, magnetic compass, lahat integrated siya. You call it an integrated navigation system or INS. So general functions, okay, occur at the top of the dialog area at right. Pressing any of these buttons open a specific dialog menu, and those are system settings, radar sensors, defaults, parallel index lines or PI lines, routes. Okay, you can even make a route on ARPA. On-ship sensors, display settings, maps, anchor watch, and chart. Okay, makikita nyo yan sa right side of the ARPA. Okay? And also, track targets, trial maneuver, target setting, is AIS menu, auto zones, and other simulation. So system settings, it's a dialog, gives access to radar setup parameters, color settings, informs the user of the software, and firmware and hardware version. Many of the parameters are password protected, and can only be accessed by a qualified technician. Radar variables may be password protected and are expected to be adjusted only by the authorized personnel during the installation or commissioning of the system. Gentlemen, no? It depends on the company. If you have to do troubleshooting, there are companies that they allow the navigational officer to do the maintenance. Okay, so by email they will give you the passwords, and those passwords are that can be used in order for you to edit those settings or do the troubleshooting. Otherwise, you will not be able to amend or change the ARPA settings kasi pwede kasi siyang masira or hindi na talaga totally magamit, no? Kaya merong mga passwords na nilalagay. Okay? System settings shows the following components: current page, version, default button, the parameters data, okay, the tracker switch, protocol versions, and also the password, which you can enter. Following pages are present in the system settings menu: version info, ACK socket or acknowledge socket of the on-ship, alarm limits, blank sector 1 and 2, chart, colors, display settings, Unimax socket internal. So for this, never change, no? Only the adjuster. Mahirap kasi kapag hindi mo na siya maibabalik. Remember, we have X-band and we have S-band radar or ARPA in our vessel. Okay? So never change without the authority, or kung hindi naman kinakailangan, just read and operate as per the operation manual. Again, with the first page of the system settings, you will find the version info. Okay? Version info information. ACK socket, alarm limits. Okay? Save alarm limits. If set to 1, changes to default alarm limit values are saved in the INE- file. When the radar application is closed, at restart, the change values are used. Okay, so alarm limits yan. Default alarm limits. And then again, the blank sector 1 and 2 na mentioned ko na to starts with a certain degree and ends with a certain degree. Collection name of the chart, GB, that means it is British Admiralty. Primar, kung yun yung ginagamit mo na chart. Others have Chartco, others have Wendy's. Okay, depende sa company mo kung ano ibibigay. Okay, base folder is system setting charts. Windows shows the name of the folder where the radar system expects the ENC charts used for chart underlay to be stored. Base folder. Kasi why is it that ENC charts are here? Okay, bakit may base folder na mga ENC charts sa settings? It is because of some ECDIS with my company, the ARPA can be ECDIS also. Ang tawag doon ay radar charts. You can write it down, okay? Yung radar charts, it is not just capable of using the radar overlay, but it is also capable of showing you the charts from your ECDIS. Meaning you can even install, update, and even correct or edit or input a user map or user chart or text or line, solid line, dash line on your ARPA. Okay? Napaka-smart na ng ARPA ng ganito, no? Na mayroon siya, na capable siya for the ENC. Previously, I've mentioned, no? You can even plot a route on your ARPA. So that means you have a chart, no? So it's an intelligent ARPA already. Sabi ko nga, we're talking about the INS or the integration of the navigational system already. And of course, the display settings, the screen size, dialog menu display, gradient buttons, depth percents, range buttons types. So these are just the settings. Okay, Unimax socket, internal, touchscreen, slider active timeouts, own MMSI. MMSI stands for Maritime Mobile Service Identity. Okay, you have to input manually. Okay, for the default setting. Own ship dimensions. Okay, those are the settings. Own ship maximum turn rate. Set for the own ship in the trial maneuver and maximum speed rate. So this, gentlemen and ladies, no, yung turning rate, meaning in a hard over rudder angle, how much is the rate? Meaning that will be degrees per minute. You can take this from saan? Any wild guess? Wala? Okay, you can take this from the maneuvering characteristics. Okay? And also the maximum speed rate, you can take this from the maneuvering characteristics as well. Also from the ship's particulars, and also on the main engine telegraph information. And you have to input this on the default setting of your own ship. Again, your radar has short pulse, medium pulse, and long pulse or auto pulse. Now, we go to the other system tests. So, itong ARPA natin, it can also be tested. Meron tayong tinatawag dito na performance monitor and also measuring the magnetron current. You can, this will depend on the ARPA manual on how to do the performance monitor test. You can write it down, performance monitor test or the PM test. Okay, yun ang tawag. And the magnetron current test. We have to check this every 4 hours of our watch. Si segundo man, si tercero man, or si chief mate. Why? Because we have to determine what is the operational percentage or capacity of our ARPA. Kasi kung ang magnetron natin ay matagal na or kasi meron siyang running hours. Magnetron, the magnetron of the ARPA has a running hours. If that is already over the maximum running hours, then, okay, then your ARPA may not show you the return echo signals properly anymore. Then you have to replace the magnetron. That is why the system tests such as the magnetron current test and the performance monitor test is tested and logged every 4 hours of our watch. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So that is all for our week 13. Kindly please take your quiz. It's just a multiple choice question. Others are discoverable or findable in the Google. multiple choice, only 35 items, okay, pertaining to our topic for this week. So ito yun, no? Week 13, fill in the blocks, operational warnings, and system tests. Okay, I'm gonna stop now sharing and I'm going to take your attendance.